Okay, welcome everyone to Robot Builders Night Virtual for July 1st, 2025. And I guess in DPRG news, the only thing I've got is Moon Day coming up, which I think you're volunteering for, right, Mike? And
when is it?
Well,
it's either the 20th or the 21st, right?
Oh, July?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be back from vacation. Yeah.
Okay. If Mark joins us tonight, we'll ask him. He's organizing it. And other than that, I'm going to share just a really uplifting video that I came across. Okay. Tell me if the audio doesn't come through. You hearing audio? Do you have audio?
Yes.
Did one of those die?
Yes.
Looks like it.
That sometimes does happen.
Oh.
Can I be honest with you? I actually think, I don't mean this in a cruel way, it was weirdly better that one of them died.
No.
It did, because it showed how difficult this was.
Can you fix him?
Absolutely, yes. You know, we have this saying at Boston Dynamics. We say, build it, break it, fix it.
That's my favorite one.
Maybe he was nervous.
Sophia.
That was super exciting and great, different. I mean, we had like something bad feeling when he just passed out in front of us.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but then the party kept going, which was really weird. Like.
So amazing. After 20 years, how can we see something we haven't seen on this stage? This is something we have never seen on this stage.
Mel.
It's kind of blown my mind a little bit because I've never seen anything like this before, and
Where are you going?
they are a little. Well, for a second,
Terry!
I want to thank you for bringing this to the stage. Well done. It's quite mind-blowing.
Great showmanship.
Howie, yes or no?
Yes.
Mel.
No brainer. Yes, yes, yes.
Exciting, yes.
They're staring at me. You got 4 yeses.
This is incredible. Oh, it's so life-changing. I want one. Do you really see this happening, like everyone having one of these like in their homes?
Yeah, we really, really believe that this is the future.
Oh, he gets out. Oh, he's so happy. Congrats. 4 yeses.
Thank you so much. Oh.
Yeah, I think
Anyway.
it's the thing that looks like a head is actually a claw, right? Or just
Right, a gripper.
a gripper, yeah.
Right. I just
Yeah.
thought that so
Wow.
so uplifting.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. So what are those going for now? Is it like 100,000 each? Maybe. I don't know what the cost of a Boston Dynamics spot is these days.
So that's all I had. Michael, you had something.
Yeah. I'm trying to get into the next 6 can. I showed you the other day. These are these LiDAR sensors from Bennewick TF Lunas, and they only have like a 2-degree. They only have a 2-degree field of view. So I'm going to try to use them to. I'm going to use them in 6 can to pick up to sense the cans. Oh, that's my plan. I'm going to show you. I got a little setup here. This is this wall here kind of represents my robot. I got some lights there, LED, and then I've got the wall over there, the 8-inch wall, and a can. But I want to demonstrate how the lower sensor here will see the can, but this upper sensor won't. So I would have these there'd be an upper sensor here, and then another one over here, which will see the wall. And then this one down here, it's still real rough planning. This will see the can, and then I can do an offset. So whenever I slide the can in front of the lower sensor, okay, hold on. See the green one? The green one will come on when it sees the can, but the upper one won't see the can. So I'm going to try to use that to identify a can, and then I'll turn my robot to go pick the can up. So that's all I got now, but it seems like it might work. So I'll just run back and forth in the arena, and when this lower switch sees the difference from the upper sensor, it'll turn. So that's the rough idea how I'm going to go. So I like the idea of those Luna sensors where they're only like 2-degree field of view. That's all I got so far, but it's something to work on, and it works really good. I mean, real good. So we'll see how it goes. I got a lot of kinks to work out, but I got something to work with, in my opinion. So we can go down. I can go down the 6-can arena, and and see cans, and then come back. I don't have to turn the robot around. I can come back and look at the other side, and I might even have these sensors on I'm just thinking, might even have these sensors on a servo that switches sides, and then come down the other side and pick the can up, and we'll see what happens. That's all I got, but it's something. It's something to work with.
They're pretty sensitive. When before Scott redid the course, the long wall and one of the gold walls, there was like a little bit of a gap. It would actually find that gap between the two walls. It was pretty sensitive.
You've done
There's no
that?
gap anymore, right?
What's that?
There's no gap anymore, right?
No, he redid the course, and
Okay, so-
even, you know, depended on where you set the course on the floor in that room, because it definitely does slant off towards the walls in the corner, and so the boards would, you know, wouldn't correctly align depending on where it was sitting, and yeah, and unfortunately, I was looking for two big changes in distance to find the goal. I had it on a servo, and so I'd scan across, and it would see that.
Oh, I got
see the gap, and then see the you know, the next change in distance was where it started to scan across the goal area where there was no board, and it would, you know, try to average the two and go, you know, turn to that angle, so it would turn to the basically the center of the short wall piece between the goal and the corner, and run into it. So
that shouldn't be an issue with the current course, right? But it raises a question about how it would behave when it's looking through the goal.
yeah, the distances on those, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say it's like 12 meters is as far as they can see, the Benewakis.
But what I'm saying is, if the robot happens to be pointed towards the goal and looking through the goal, and let's say it's up near the goal, so it's looking out beyond the arena to whatever is beyond the arena, there could well be things at the corresponding heights that are at different different
beyond
distances,
the goal, yeah,
and would trigger it to walk right on out through the goal and go find them.
Well, I used to try to orientate it so it was, you know, perpendicular to the goal as best I could, and then it would scan 180 degrees, so it had a pretty good field of view.
Okay.
But still, if it caught that little space between the two boards, you know, it threw off my calculations. So
okay. Well, this right here in my mind is this yellow board here I made. It just represents, I would say, the side of the robot seeing the long wall here.
yeah,
and it drives down. It will pick this guy up. See, and that bottom sensor will see this can, and I'll have a, you know, a formula to calculate. Say if my robot's closer to this wall or further away, it's going to measure the distance between these two. I'll have something say, well, if this is so many,
okay, I see what you're doing.
so many centimeters or whatever, and this is so, I'll do a little math and make it and split, you know, figure the distance, and then the robot will turn then and come and pick the can up and go to go. Hopefully, I can use odometry to keep it in the center. I mean, that's the plan. But and then I've got one of them other kind of let's see. I've got these VL 53 LOX. Y'all seen them? You know how the goal has that rail on the top when you go through it? I think I'm gonna have one pointing up, one on each side, that when it sees the top of that goal, it'll know, hey, I'm at the goal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, you know. I mean, it's definitely subject to change. And then I'll have one for the other side. Instead of trying to use an encoder for distancing, I'll try to trigger I don't know. We'll see. If it doesn't work, you won't see me get in the competition. So, but the fun is actually in the journey anyway. So, you know. All right, that's all I got. I'm going to try that and see what happens. I've got it. I'm working on it. So
cool. Yeah, Doug showed how well an odometry based robot can do 6-can.
He sure did. That's all he's using. It would drift.
Yep.
But I even got something in my mind to see if I can use these lunas to line up off the sidewall.
Mm-hmm.
If I get off a little bit on my odometry. I don't know, something to play with. But yeah, when I've seen that Doug had used odometry to stay in the middle of the course, I thought, well, you know what? I've got a program already that'll do a straight line. I know for a fact. That straight line I did the last time we did the quick trip, I did that in a 4 loop to do it 6 times, just back and forth in my hall, and it went back and forth, and it stayed within that, what is that, 35 inches, I guess. It stayed within that. So, of course, I never turned around it did a 90 to go pick up a can. I mean, but I'm going to see what happens.
Excellent.
Yep. Yeah, I remember in Can Soccer, if my robot bumped his robot, it would get off and it would start hitting. It would come close to the goal, but not quite. It would just catch it on either side and run into the wall, and it's kind of like, oh. Didn't take much of a bump.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Michael.
You bet.
All right. Did anyone else who just joined have anything to share, or else we'll jump to open mic? All right. Let's go to open mic, and I've got a question. There's only a couple of people who I think might want to weigh in on this, but I'll just share it briefly. And ask if anyone has any opinions on it. So y'all know I'm working on the Lena Robot 2 software stack, and I just submitted a PR that hopefully will take it to as full a usefulness as it's going to get for this iteration on Jazzy. So it'll do gazebo and serial connected microcontroller on Jazzy. So I'm looking for input on the features to come after. And so the ones in green, I've got them in work, and they're going to get PR'd in. I've got Wi-Fi support and hardware improving documentation as priority 2, and I'm going to do them. But the ideas I'm toying with are supporting the Pico 2W as a Wi-Fi microcontroller. So this would be for inexpensive robots where the microcontroller drives the robot and talks over Wi-Fi to a ROS computer, perhaps running on your laptop. So that's one possible feature. Xeno support is another possible feature to replace DDS. Sonar support is another possible feature. So anyway, open to any input anyone might have on this list of features that is not colored and not prioritized.
Why aren't you using the oh, what am I trying to think? Oh, I can't remember now. Never mind.
Okay. Well, just thought I'd throw it out there and see if anyone.
Paul, did you ever get that problem you had a couple of weeks ago worked out with Ross that you was kind of frustrated with?
The one where Minibot was hanging in 6CAN? No. I never tried to reproduce it. I was like, done with that. next contest isn't for another year.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Right.
All right, open mic. He's got something.
I kind of wonder. Let's see if I can find it here.
Your mic's off, Mike.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I'm working on designing or thinking of a round 4-foot diameter turntable for that art sculpture is going to be put on top of, and it's going to needs to rotate like once every 5 minutes, and it has to be a precise rotation to be in sync with some videos on the wall. And we're thinking it could be 300-400 pounds of stuff. I'm hoping it's not going to be that heavy, but it could be. So we're working on trying to find the pieces, trying to price it, and figure out how hard it's going to be to build. I found some interesting motors. I should try to put that one up. Let me see, where am I? But this one motor has where is it? Okay, so let me try to bring this up. Let me share. Share. So like this motor here.
Looks pretty heavy duty there.
Yeah, I don't need it this heavy duty, but it will work.
The
thing is, it's a low RPM, high torque motor that can run relatively low speed with a large ratio. And I also have another 1-to-12 reduction on my platform where the motor connects to the platform. So I should be able to run it at 1/5 of a rotation per minute, or 5 minutes per rotation. This speed controller here is like a manual one. But I was going, hey, I could put a servo on that and automate it. So I was wondering if anybody's ever done that. Use a servo to automate a knob on a device.
No.
Yeah, me and my teams have done that.
Yeah. So it's like,
really
oh, okay.
jank. It's doable, but it's kind of jank.
Oh yeah, it's jank. But
yeah,
it's better than me trying to figure out another speed controller if I get something like that.
So this is just a single phase AC motor?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. Do you have is it going to be, plugged into a wall or run off a?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It just rotates. It doesn't move. It just rotates.
Oh, okay.
So if you've got a 1-to-12 reducer and it would run at full speed at 18 RPM, then it'll run at about 1.5 RPM on the output of your reducer, right? And you want to get it down to 1/5 of an RPM.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Say you'll have to run it at about 10% power, right?
Right. So the knob has to be way down on the low side. Yeah.
You can gear it down with a belt. It's going to drive a giant turntable. So
that's why I'm getting to 1-to-12 is reduction on the connection of the motor to the turntable. Yeah, because I have an extra 1-to-12 by the actual way that the the motor would drive the turntable.
Right.
Yeah. So that gets me down to where I can, so I can run this at its low end and get what I need.
I'm just wondering if stiction and the like would enter, stiction and friction would make it non-linear at about 10% duty cycle, which is what you're going to have to run, 10 to 20%.
No, he doesn't have to run at that low of a duty cycle because he's only got one speed that he wants, right? So he could set the gear ratio so that it's near on the upper end somewhere, but gives him some room to speed up or slow down to fine tune it. But he's got a very slow gear ratio turntable he needs to do. So just gearing it beyond what this has, right? Because he's gonna be driving a very big turntable, so he could have a large pulley on it underneath that this is driving.
I think, Kareem, you and I are saying the same thing, which is that
no, you're saying that he has to run the motor at a low output, and he doesn't.
Well, he said he had a 1 to 12. He was planning to use a 1 to 12 gear reducer to drive the turntable directly. If I heard him right.
Right. So that's the reduction I have in the going from the motor to the turntable.
And Kareem, you're saying you should go with more of a reduction than 1 to 12 by means of a belt or whatever, in order to not have to use such a low PWM ratio.
I agree. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would love to find a lower speed motor, but yeah, and or something. But
are you saying you're committed to shaft driving this thing?
Shaft driving?
You can choose pretty much any gear ratio you want with a setup like this, right? You just have a much larger reduction on the belts to the pulley. This will have a pulley on it, and it's driving another pulley on the turntable.
The design is much simpler than that. There's no pulleys involved. It's just
how are you driving it? How are you driving the turntable from this?
Yeah, because I talked with someone that made a much larger version of this for a stage, and with 1,000-pound weights and stuff like that, or really high. And he put a wheel on the output of this drive, a different motor, but on this, and then the wheel touched basically the platform set on the wheel, and it's a 4-foot diameter platform, and the wheel would spin the platform directly. And it kept everything small and tight and simple.
You got a wheel that's directly driving the perimeter of this turntable.
Right. To give me the 1 to 12 reduction. Yeah.
So you just use a smaller wheel. You've already got a giant turntable perimeter, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you can get get just about any ratio you want.
Yeah. There's lots of ways to do it, but this is what I'm working on, and trying to get and there's other motors and stuff that this is my first cut at it. And the other guy had a different motor with a higher drive, and it didn't go down as low with RPM, but he wasn't trying to get really that low. But he was able to, when he was headed at the low end, the turntable and stage would run pretty slowly and work really well. So I'm trying to keep everything simple, and because it has to be put together and taken apart and put together and taken apart. So this is pretty good. There's also some DC versions of that.
Yeah.
That could be easier. Could be controlled with a standard motor control that we're used to dealing with.
24 volts.
And if I go to the manufacturer, I could probably find a 1 to 100 gear and get it to run even slower by custom ordering a motor and gear set. So
Uh-oh. I haven't seen one of those yet. This seller has a caution. Might want to avoid that guy.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. So this is interesting from Fake Spot. Has anyone used Fake Spot on Amazon?
Nope.
Well, it's basically a third-party review of the analysis of the reviews, but when I ran it, it said important update: Fake Spot will be shut down today.
Ooh.
So basically, I think Amazon says, I don't like you doing analysis of our reviews. And probably got a court order to say, stop doing that.
Probably, yeah.
So I thought that was sort of strange. But so that's sort of my my show and tell. So we're trying to guess, like, this thing will cost, I said 500. I can do it for 500 bucks to build this thing. So
cool.
It's a very high-powered motor for that job. Like, you could do that with the kind of motors that we use in our robots all the time. Because if you got a decently low friction turntable, the speeds that you're running at, I mean, just the huge gear ratio reduction you got, it's not really that big of a power draw.
Yeah. So I could find more motor solutions. So, but this is like one that sort of fell out of his big motors for his large, like stage size turntable.
Yeah.
So okay. These using 4 motors, and I only need 1, but I can probably use even a smaller one. Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
So what are the mechanics that support this turntable going to be like, Mike?
The what?
The mechanics that support this turntable. Are you going to have like 3 or 4 or several wheels around in a circle, and one of them is driven? And is it what holds it in place centrally? Is there a central shaft that it rotates on?
I plan to have just a shaft with a hole in the disc to keep it centered. But I will. What I will do is I'll bring up the which images are these? I'll just go through the images. Yeah. So that's sort of how they built theirs, is they have little casters on the ground spread out.
Are you sharing something?
Pardon?
Are you sharing something?
Oh. Oh. I guess I should do that. I saw it.
So I'm guessing actors stand on this thing? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So this is their their larger turntable. And can you see it now?
Yeah. Looks pretty serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see all these casters that are underneath the platform. And it says, "Oh, well, we just need one like that inner one right there." And see what else they got. So they're sort of showing that how it's coming together here.
Cool.
I'm not sure what that's a picture of.
So do you have to weigh and balance the actors? Like if you have a heavy set actor on one side, do you have to balance them out with?
You just put them in the middle. You put them in the middle.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
Yeah. Maybe that's what this little test was. What if you had some unbalance on it?
There's some right there. Some white.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
his
so-
use
so you
case
can-
is just a static sculpture, right?
Well, there's no people on it. Yeah. So
Oh, there's not. Okay.
there's no on this one has people on it, just actors and stuff. So they built their own instead of buying one like commercially. So they say, that's the person we need to talk to. Yeah.
But
So
Mike
that was
doesn't expect to have people standing on his except for maintenance, right?
right. Yeah. So it'll handle a person on it. We don't want it's gonna we don't want audience members on it. So hopefully they don't get on it. But it's hard to tell what the audience will do. So you can see here the deck controllers. So it's basically, I'm just going down that same rabbit hole. Let's see what this does. Yeah.
It's only a 3-second video.
Yeah, so you can see, I can't zoom in for some reason, but he placed his motor right there with the wheel on it. Is there a different? Oh, here's a different one. It's noisy though. So I wonder which motors are less noisy. What else does he have? Oh, wiring, stuff, motor. Looks like it's used, and then his parts list. So, so that's pretty
Cool.
good stuff. Yeah.
Fun project, Mike.
Yeah, I had a question. I was looking at like alternate motor drivers. Whoops.
Because I'd like to get a brushless DC motor because it should run relatively slow with good torque at the low end.
Good thought.
Share. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I wondered if anybody had used these before. It's a relatively cheap, it says 60 amps. I don't know if it'll do anything close to that. Sometimes it's over-spec stuff that you find on AliExpress, but and there's different websites. This one I think only has 2 sold, so not real encouraging there. But I wondered if anybody else had any experience with this is a dual what they're saying 60 amp 9 to 30 volt, which is close to what the RoboClaws will do, but at a fraction of the cost. And you get a lot more features with a RoboClaw than you would with this thing. It's just strictly a motor driver. It doesn't do, PID tuning or, there's no GUI associated with it or anything like that. So to see what,
Does it have a PWM input or?
Yeah.
Speed
It's
control?
two, direction and 2 PWM inputs because it's a dual motor driver. But looked kind of interesting, I thought, for I don't know, like a little over $18 and including shipping for 11. Wouldn't be too bad. I think a RoboClaw, I think they're over $200 now for these, equivalent current. But yeah, I was
I think the roboclaw I used on my mother robot was a 20 amp, or was it 30?
Could be a 30. They make a 2x30 and 2x60.
Okay.
Yeah. Even the 2x30s though, I think
They're
I want to say
expensive.
like $150.
Don't remember being that expensive, but they were expensive. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Maybe the tariffs made them go higher.
It's possible. Yeah. But yeah, that looked kind of neat. I was kind of really just looking through AliExpress and actually looking for other things, and that came up, and I thought, that looks interesting. So I thought I'd try it. So it's kind of neat. I never knew how, what the internals were of the gate openers, and pretty much they have a slotted disc on, a shaft, and basically I guess you call it a lead screw. So when it's all the way in, there's a limit switch that you can look at. So you've pulled or made the thing as short as you can possibly make it, without destroying the internals of it. Because if you keep screwing the screw in, it'll hit something. Anyway, so that's pretty much how they do it. To get it to be smaller, they look for that limit switch for it to get, extended out, so far, which is actually the closed position. They have a slotted disc, and you actually count the number of, slots that pass by, which tell you how far out it's pushed the rod. So they do sense current for, overload conditions, like if the gate catches the ground or gets stuck or something. And mine didn't come with it, but I've added, this is a latch. It's got these little fingers that push in, and there's a rod that it catches as the gate shuts. There's no feedback on this. There's no switch or anything to tell you that, you've made it to the latch position. So pretty much to close it, you're just counting, the pulses from an opto interrupter and a slotted disc to figure out, how far out the thing is. And so it's been kind of fun. I've been using a Adafruit Cutie Pie, which has just about enough pins for, I've got a, there's a MOSFET, pretty large, or low RDS on MOSFET switch that has to be driven, and then a board with 2 relays on it to get it to move either in or out. I have 4-button remotes with a little receiver. So these are the, you can learn, like, I think up to 20 different remotes with the thing, which I don't know why you'd ever want to have 20 different remotes on a gate opener. But anyway, yeah, so it's been kind of fun to play around with. But I spent probably, I don't know, probably only $30 at this point. So I'm like 1/10 of the cost of a replacement board. So I don't know if I wasn't going to do, well, I actually bought some current sensors, and I was going to incorporate that, but I'm thinking maybe my current protection is going to be a fuse. So, if it catches something and overloads, it blows the fuse, So, but I don't know. I may incorporate that again too. So, but.
So what if a cow gets in the gate and it tries to close on the cow?
Whoa, not good.
Does this
have fuse and partially open gate,
Does it have a light sensor to see objects?
No.
Okay.
No, the original one didn't have that either, but Yeah, I know like overhead garage doors have like if it's not fully down and it senses a load, it'll back up. So, so it doesn't crush someone or something, dog or a person or a cat or whatever. But so
Okay, the cow has a light sensor on it.
there you go. Put the light sensor on the cow. Huh? Yeah. So
You'll get your moo warning, a moo alarm.
there you go. Yeah. Yeah. My wife and I volunteer a lot now at a food pantry, and like you can only keep stuff for so long. So the cows love that because we'll bring home like, boxes of donuts and pastries, and you see a cow in the field with frosting all over its mouth. And so now whenever we go outside, it's like the cows come running because they think they're going to get something. So,
think I'll get a Twinkie, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, Twinkies and, you name. Of course, Twinkies last forever, but, they don't get a lot of those. But, yeah, so we've gotten them into bad habits. So.
Those are big animals to have bad habits.
Yeah. And they'll challenge you if if it's like, come on, give me something, I'll let you out if you give me something, So,
That's a truly free range cattle you got there.
say that again.
Free range, all diet cattle.
Yeah. Oh, they love the bread and the pastries. Yeah, they'll eat it up. So, but yeah. And I was actually kind of surprised. I don't know if they, how long it took to learn it, but when it gets hot during the day, they'll actually get in the pond and go for a swim to try to cool down. And it's like, wow, that's good. Who came up with that idea? So anyway, yeah, if anybody has any old wheelchair motors that they don't want, let me know. I'm always in the market for wheelchair motors. I still want to work on I don't know, they have them on AliExpress. They're either tracked or 4-wheel drive small mowers that are most of them are radio controlled, with the RC controller. And I want to do something like that because I'm very allergic to poison ivy, and not unless we spray constantly, poison ivy comes back. And chiggers, we have a bumper crop of chiggers this year. So, if I could sit in my air conditioned truck or sit in the house and look at a first person view and mow some of these areas, that would be, I'd be in heaven, so not have to go out and get exposed to chiggers and poison, whatever. I think we have poison oak, sumac, poison ivy, you name it, all of the poisonous plants that'll, we seem to have them. So, but anyway, and that's what I was thinking of using these for too, is instead of the RoboClaws, use one of these as a motor driver. But anyway, so maybe once I get it, I can report if it's a deal or a dud, I guess.
Boy, I never had no idea that AliExpress sold mowers. But
yeah.
There's like a bunch of them that are in the sort of $300 to $500 range that are like really big things with tracks and everything.
Oh yeah. I think I don't know. Maybe well, I don't know if it disappeared. I was wondering if some of these are legitimate or not, because they seem like they're pretty good deals. There was one for under 300 that I found.
Yeah, I'm looking at one 292, and it's a tracked unit.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It says there are 7 sold, but I guess you can't really tell, right?
Say that again.
You don't know if there really have been 7 sold, or do you think AliExpress assures that that number is valid?
I don't know. It used to be that, AliExpress wouldn't even take credit cards or PayPal, but they've come a long way with that. They accept PayPal now. But so yeah, I don't know. I think they've kind of gone from protecting the seller to more protecting the buyers. So I don't know, if you paid for one and you didn't get it, you could probably say, look, this didn't seem legitimate, and I never got the product, and that kind of stuff. But I never, most of the stuff that I buy is, maybe, I don't know, maybe $20. It's mainly small electronic.
Not too much if you lose it, but yeah, when you're talking 300 to 500 or more.
Yeah. And they look, I don't know if you could get replacement parts for any of these things. Or maybe, if your mower blows up, you're out of luck or something. But or how well made they are. But it seems like they're fairly rugged, and I guess they're not going to show you a video of the tracks falling off one or something,
There's tons of them.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few. I was they have flail mowers where it's like a cutter that's spins on a horizontal axis, and those are more for heavy brush and small trees and that kind of stuff, and then just regular rotary blade mowers, and but who knows what kind of quality you get. I don't know. But if it is $300, I don't think, just think of the money and time it would cost you to make something, at least that nice.
Yeah.
And functional. So $300 doesn't seem too bad,
Right. They're all gas engines with a pull start.
Yep.
Pull cord start.
Yeah. Yeah, and they say some of them are, the bigger ones, I guess, that have the bigger cutting widths are like 7 horsepower, which would probably be about right. I think some of them have alternators on them. They'll charge your batteries out, so you don't, have to be too concerned about discharging batteries. And I actually tried to hook up an alternator to one of mine. There's a little regulator board inside of the alternator that you can convert from 12 volts to 24 volts. So you can charge 2 batteries, but you have to have a very balanced load on the 2 batteries. Otherwise they won't charge up equally. So, and I had a wheelchair that would do that. One battery was like at 13 volts and the other was at 11. And it seemed like once they, repeatedly got charged to those voltages, you could even swap them, and they wouldn't change what voltage they would charge up to. So I don't know if it, maybe somehow damage the one and it would only charge up to 11 volts or something. But yeah, so, but it's haven't had it out in a while. It's been sitting there. I need to get it out again and play around with it. So,
Yeah. Awesome lead. Thanks, Ray.
sure.
Wow. Mobot might need to take a back seat.
Yeah. There you go. You could get we could start a trend maybe, I'll get one and just share our experience with it, hopefully the tracks will stay on it for at least a couple of years,
Well, there are also some that are four-wheel drive.
Yep.
So skid steer.
Yep. Yeah. I think maintenance wise, that might be a little easier to take care of. You could probably find, if you wore out tires or, ran over something and snagged it, got a flat or something or destroyed a tire. You might be able to get things like that, but tracks, not unless you can get those things from the manufacturer, but yeah, maybe that's the thing I should try to find out.
That's supposedly 92% off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the other suspicious thing. It's kind of like, okay, what are they doing? Dumping all these now?
Yeah, right.
This was like $300 down from $3,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And none of them have reviews, which is kind of worrying.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, I don't know if these are legit sites or
right. Interesting.
Yeah. But yep, no local shipping. You've got to, well, in some cases they say it's free, but it used to be that shipping on these was pretty expensive. So
yeah, all the ones I'm looking at are saying like free, or many of them say free shipping.
Yep.
Like, would that be real?
Yeah, I just don't. It seems a little too suspicious. Not many reviews, not many sold, really cheap price, But like I said, I don't know how AliExpress keeps track of, I don't know how many sellers they have on AliExpress now. I mean, thousands, maybe tens of thousands. I don't know, but it seems like some of the sellers, maybe they just buy up lots of stuff and sell it. Some of them don't even seem to know what they're selling.
Really?
Oh yeah, you look at specifications for some things, and they don't make any sense at all. It's kind of like,
make any sense at all.
Yeah, they're just filling in the blank with something, some text line or something. It's kind of like.
It's kind of like electronic flea market. You're kind of on your own.
Oh yeah, yep.
You buy and hope for the best.
Huh.
With AliExpress.
Yep. Well, yeah, that was the thing.
I built, I don't know if y'all remember them, but I built all these personal Bluetooth speakers for my kids at Christmas.
Yeah, right. I remember them.
Yeah. And I got all those parts off of AliExpress, and you just get a bunch of them. You're just kind of on your own. And stuff was real cheap back then. It's gone up a little bit since that. I've noticed the prices have gone up since the tariff thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And some of them will even say, like 30 cents of this went to, other fees. And I'm assuming that's the tariff or something.
Yeah.
But most of the stuff that I buy is not that expensive. So
yeah. If you get a $2 thing and it doesn't work, you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. This, the RF receiver for these 4-button remotes, they were saying, okay, output D0 corresponds to button A, D1 to B. So I hooked it up, and it's like I'm not getting any output on. I always only need 2 buttons for this thing, an open and a close. So I'm hitting open and close, and it's like nothing's happening, and it's like, oh shit, something's wrong with this. And hooked up 4 LEDs to all the outputs, and it worked fine. It was just the reverse. A ended up on D3, and B ended up on D2, and so and nobody wrote a comment about that or anything in the in the reviews to say seems to work okay, but it's the reverse of what they say it is. So yeah, but the remotes seem to work really well. Of course I haven't stuck it in the box, and you're inside your car, and it's hard to say how well it's going to work then, but probably need to try it out. But anyway, that's what I've been occupying my time with.
Fun project.
Yeah. Maybe you should put like a lock release pin off there if it's locked in. If it ever doesn't work, you can unpadlock it, release the gate, and open it up manually if you had to.
Yeah, we have a chain that goes around this moving part of the gate, and an iron pole, and yeah, that's there's a pin that you pull out. It's it's not a cotter pin. It's like almost like a hitch pin, like from some ag equipment. It's got a kind of a big loop on the back and a little kink in it, so you can get it over the center of a rod or something through a hole. And yeah, so it's really easy to take off if it does screw up. So, and I think they're notorious for, it's kind of surprising, but it seems like, once you do the setup procedure and you have the thing opening to where, or closing, say to where, well, either way, closing or opening to where you want it, it's fully retracted. It's, you're tripping a switch basically, and the switch is, hard mounted on the inside of the thing. Not unless, the arm and the switch bends or something. It should be pretty repeatable. Same thing for the count on the disc, as the thing goes out. But a lot of people complain that, they'll shift back and forth, which is not good. You don't want that, but and still they're, they seem to be one of the gate openers that's purchased, a lot, or seems to be a reliable brand. But a friend of mine has 5 of them, and she says none of them actually end up where you want them to, or where you initially set them up to. So she said they're all a pain in the butt. So, but so I'm hoping with it's hard to say with my design that it's going to be very repeatable and open and close to the same position each time. So,
well, you sort of, it's kind of important when closing that it close accurately, because if it doesn't close quite all the way, then you've got a partly open gate. If it tries to close too far, then it's trying to push the gate, it'll like buckle stuff while it's trying to push the gate past the gate post.
Yep.
We had those gates at work that would work off of these. Some of y'all might have seen these off of a lead screw and little limit switches, micro switches, and you would index it. You would index these little triggers on this lead screw, and it would rotate, move, and then when it hit the limit switch, it would turn off. It would rotate with the motor, and then you can adjust it. You can adjust it on those little threaded rods.
Yep.
Pretty interesting.
Was it repeatable?
Yeah, they were just hit limit switches, but you could adjust them. They were on threaded rod, like all thread. It was on all thread. The little switches work, but that's how they worked on those gates. If it wouldn't close right, our gate to our factory, if it wouldn't close right, you could adjust it.
Yeah.
Of course, when the sprockets wore out on the gear, you know, on the chain, you'd have to adjust it. You know.
Oh, really?
You'd adjust it till the chain broke, and then you fix it.
So you were wearing out and breaking chains? That sounds.
Well, you know, yeah, things to do.
Huh.
I'm just saying, you know, as maintenance man, you're just lazy. You just wait till it, you know, till the sprocket falls off the shaft, then you're repaired or whatever.
So, Kareem, you posted this RC mower for $279, and it's got 4 motors, one on each wheel. How do you reckon that they look like they'd be electric motors? Because I see a wire coming from them. You reckon there'd be I guess there'd be a motor control.
Yeah, they look like they're electric motors. There's no way to tell. There's no descriptions, right? There's no real description, but it looks like there's 4 motors with 4 gearboxes.
Yep.
And
I think those the motor
the
mounts right on the shaft of the wheel mounts right on the motor.
Yep, that's what it looks like. Looks super simple from a mechanical perspective, which is actually a good thing. But you know.
Yeah, I wonder if that one you can adjust the height. It doesn't look it, but looks like maybe
just
it's
let some air out of the wheels.
There you go. Get bigger wheels.
It doesn't look like it has a real proper mowing deck either. I mean, it's got a top cover, but I don't know what the sides are.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, sometimes the really tall and fibrous weeds will get tangled up around the shaft of the mower, and so if you have plenty of places for stuff to fly out, you know,
but better.
doesn't accumulate.
After all, it's remote control. Just make sure nobody else is around.
Yeah,
put a
that's
big
right.
siren on top.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be just fun, just to have. You know, it's pretty
just
cool.
As a menace, yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yes.
Yeah. You finally opened it up. Okay. Yeah. I went up to McDonald's, got me a Happy Meal, and went.
Hey, Michael, you might want to mute yourself.
Anyway, yeah, they had it shut off. They got some guys laying some pipe out there on the road. I don't know what.
Okay, I'm muted, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Some of them will have like 250 watt, 24 volt. Others will have like 350 watt, 24 volt motors. It's hard to say. You can't really see any labels on those, but I haven't seen it seems like they sell them. There's a 12 volt, 250 watt motor for, I think, under $30. But that's 250 watts, I think, might be a little weak. I think 350 might be about what you want.
Wait, does this thing come with remote control too? The description page actually has some stuff on it.
Oh, does it? Yeah. I think I looked at this one earlier.
Not much, but it has some more pictures.
Yep.
Actual dimensions.
Yep. Yeah.
Total weight 105 kilograms, so that's about 200 pounds. It's kind of heavy.
That's probably about right for, you know.
Welded bar. That looks like 1-inch tubing almost.
Yeah.
Is it 5 kilometers an hour? That's respectable. With 70 amp hour battery, so that's probably got a lead acid, one of those like little lead acid mower batteries.
Probably. Yeah, like a running lawnmower battery or something, maybe. Yeah. 2 of those. But yeah, I thought
Boy, that's tempting.
yeah.
Because AliExpress says refund if no delivery in 60 days.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of tempting, it's like pretty much a ready-made platform. It's
right.
Pretty much what I would want. So
yeah, me too. Heck. I'm tempted.
yeah, what did you say? 5 kilometers per hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about 2.5 miles an hour. It's plenty fast for a mower.
Yep. Yep. Don't know if it's a Scott beater or not, but hey,
No, I'm thinking for an actual mower.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Pneumatic ag tires and everything. Yeah, it doesn't. Well, I don't think these motors have encoders on them.
Oh, I doubt it.
Yeah, so I don't know how they're. Like it's just open loop, driving one side or the other at the same amount, maybe.
Right, because it's RC controlled, so you're relying on the driver to compensate for any unequal power.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it says in the fine print, it says the displayed price on the page is the product deposit. Please communicate with customer service for details.
There you go. It's a down payment.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the final price under buyer questions? Yep. So that's the catch.
So how do you click on how do you get answers? Like
you don't.
Well, you should be able to contact the seller somewhere. It's not always easy to find.
Maybe under message?
Yeah, I haven't done it in a while. I don't remember how I did it, but you can usually contact them.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
It looks like if you contact the seller, it opens up the Tongzong Machinery Factory website, and there's a contact now button you can hit.
Where's the contact the seller?
On the ad itself, Let me go back. Yeah, the sold by, it's right under, color AWY-550W.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you click on the sold by, it'll take you to their website, and there's a contact button there. So you might get an answer out of it. Contact now. Did you find it?
No, I'm seeing color, and I don't see a contact now.
Well, no, not on this page.
Sold by. Oh, now I see it.
Yeah, click that, and it'll take you to the
Right.
Tongzong machinery page.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little disappointing. So you're probably right. It's probably a down payment on. We have a financing plan for you.
Yep. Okay. What else?
Anyway.
If nothing, maybe we'll wrap it up, and I'm going to move on to the Ross discussion group that HBRC runs. It's kind of fun.
Where's that at? What is it on? Is it a Zoom meeting or how's that work?
Yeah, it's a Zoom meeting. If you go to groups.google.com and you.
So it's a Google meeting.
No, groups.google.com and you search for HBRC, you find the Homebrew Robotics Club channel email group, just like DPRG has a Google group. Well, Homebrew Robotics Club has a Google group, and then you look for an email from camp or post from camp saying Ross discussion group tonight, and it's got a Zoom link in it.
How in I guess robot industry in general is, are a lot of people using ROS? Is it kind of a niche group, or is it really becoming widely adopted and used? Or
it's widely used, particularly I think in early product and prototyping and development. Once you see companies move to production, they tend to go custom. Is like whole completely in-house developed is my impression. But over half of the ROS presentations come out of industry these days at the ROSCON conferences. So it's very much in industry.
What about those robot lawnmowers that you find nowadays, right? Do you think they use ROS?
Open Mower uses ROS. It uses ROS 1 still. They're migrating it to ROS 2.
Yeah, but that was more of a hobby project. It's not like one of the high volume manufacturers of robot lawnmowers.
No, but retailers have proprietary systems.
Yeah. It's not really possible to tell, in a proprietary system if it uses ROS. They don't put that on the branding on a mass market mower because they don't want everyone digging into their code and messing with it. So you can imagine lots of reasons not to publicize that.
They're all closet Ross users.
Yeah, maybe. All right. What do you think? Shall we call it a night? All right.
Sure.
Good talking to you guys.
Oh,
Later,
I
dude.
have a plot of the Ross users. Let me just show it just for fun. Yeah, so this is some sort of a plot. I didn't have time to analyze it, but there's thousands of people that interact with Ross with the packages and stuff. So that is sort of a quick output of how many people use it. Looks like a lot, but I'm a user, an accountant here, so how many people really use it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
So I posted a link to the HBRC email list, and I'm just going to post a link to, let's see, where is it? Yeah, I'll post a Zoom meeting link. But yeah, it's all about Ross, and they have some real Ross experts there.
Cool. Well, thanks, Paul.
All right.
Thanks,
Good night,
Paul.
everyone.
Good night.